Are you a student who is trying to decide about a college, trade, or technical career? How will you get there? How will you pay? We'll address these questions and more with the U.S. Department of Education coming up in this edition of The Chat Room. Welcome to The Chat Room. I'm your host, Frank O'Gara, and joining me today is Holly Anderson from the Department of Education's Student Aid Awareness and Application Services. Ms. Anderson serves as the business owner of the Collegegov initiative, an award-winning website designed to help students and their parents navigate the many questions that families wrestle with as they begin the search and application process for colleges and technical schools. Welcome to the chat room, Holly.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here.
Well, we're thrilled that you're here, and it's a perfect time of year because we have about 3,200 seniors this year in 47 of our high schools all over the world, and they're all thinking about life after high school right now and what they're going to do. And many will go to college, some will go to military services, and then others will go to trade or technical schools. And so we were excited when we saw your website because it's a wonderful source. I know that many of our counselors and our families are already using your site, but we wanted to have you today walk us through it and talk a little bit about it. What was the intent of Collegegov when you developed it?
The intention, it was actually an idea from students. The former Undersecretary, Sarah Martinez Tucker, went around the country on a listening tour. And she just talked to students. And one of the things that students made it very clear about was, if you want to engage us, come to where we are. And where we are interactive websites, we're using social media, we're using Facebook. We want you to create some things so that we can get access to it. Communicate with us through the mechanisms that we're already using. Don't create new social media, but use those things that are already out there and then come talk to us.
Well, I think you've hit the mark, and I think it is engaging. Now, was it primarily designed just for students, or are there other audiences as well?
It was primarily designed for underprivileged 9th through 12th graders. However, we do have kind of an expansion so that it could be used for students, parents, high school guidance counselors, and then we have kind of a sister site that I'll talk about later where we can get in-depth information for adults wanting to return to school.
Okay, well, when I've looked through your site, I've noticed it's organized into 3 main categories. There's the why go, what to do, and how to pay. I'd like you to walk us through each of those sections and talk a little bit about it, and to focus on what students and our counselors can get out of each section of the site.
Okay, be happy to
Great.
do that. So at the home page for college.gov, I want to point out a couple of things. And again, as you said before, it's divided basically into 3 sections of why go, what to do, and how to pay. One of the things that we became very clear about in listening to our customers, parents and students on this listening tour, is that if I wanted to teach you about financial aid, I could give you the Higher Education Act, but maybe that's a little too much information. So that when people are learning, they really kind of need an overview of basic, simplistic information, and then you can give them the detail at a later point in time. But in the learning process, give them plain language, give them just basic information. So we actually tested with students what is basic enough. So that's where we got the why go, what to do, and how to pay. And basically, the why go is reasons for why you should go to school, what you're going to get out of it, what you should be thinking about, what other students said that you should be listening to them and their experiences. What to do is kind of bullets of there are some, here's what I need to do in high school, here's what I need to do in the application process of thinking about attending college, and then how to pay. Everybody's interested in how am I going to pay for this. College is expensive. It's a major challenge financially. So we then just have a section on how to pay. Let me go through these in depth. The first thing, though, I want to talk about on the front page, we do have, you'll see a bulletin board here, and one of the things we wanted to do with college.gov was inspire students to think about college and hopefully attend college, to inform them about information that they would need in order to go to school, and then motivate them to take action, to either talk with their parents, to talk with their counselors, to fill out the FAFSA. So one of the things as far as the interactive part is students can actually upload a motivational saying so that they can upload one of their pictures. They don't have to. There are kind of canned pictures that students can use. This is a canned picture. But these are real students. I'm just going to go through here. Real students uploaded her picture and her I'm going statement. I'm going to be smarter than my genius child, or I'm going because I need a vacation, or I'm going to show the world what I can do. We've gotten some wonderful motivational statements from students about why they want to go to college. So we really, really love that. The Why Go section then basically talks about reasons to attend, boost your earnings, make more money, find your passion, prove your potential, grow with help and support, and lift your family. And so it goes into detail, just a little bit of information. Again, not that detailed heavy, but kind of just here's what other students are doing, and they're real students. One of the things I love about College.gov is that all of the students that are on here are real students.
Real testimonials.
Real testimonials.
And I'm sure students appreciate that.
One of the things students said when we were thinking about this website was, I want to hear from other students in the same position that I'm in and how they were able to accomplish their goals. So whether they're homeless, whether they're a minority student, whether they're a migrant farm worker, whether their parents don't want them to attend college. I mean, we heard of a lot of different reasons. And so then we found students that were willing to share their stories about how they overcame adversity and were able to successfully attend college. Again, inside of our sites we also have information, but we also have videos of students.
Sometimes things that are out of our hands present an obstacle to our dreams or postpone our dreams, but if you hold strong to them, you'll eventually get to them. So I've learned that I'm a pretty determined person, and it's a good feeling because I know anything that comes in my way from now on, I'll get over it.
So again, we have a lot of different videos, a lot of different students in a lot of different situations sharing their stories about here are the things that helped me, here are the things that I had to overcome. If I can do it, you can do it.
That's great.
And
it's
a
great
very,
motivator.
very clear
Wonderful.
message. This is actually a new feature that we have just posted, and it's talking about career possibilities. Another thing that students said to us was, I know that I can go look up that if I want to be an engineer, I expect to make this much money, yada, yada, yada. That it's very statistical information. What students told us was, we really just want to kind of explore. We don't really know that we want to be an engineering major right now, so show us some information or give us some students and what they're good at and what majors that they wound up with. So this is our new career possibilities tool, and basically it's just to say, again, these are real new graduates.
Yes.
Newly employed in different areas, and so students can either click on one of these pictures and it will show information about that particular student, or they can click on I love problem solving, I prefer working by myself, I like making decisions, I have a great sense of humor, and then with those attributes, what did students really accomplish? What kind of jobs did they actually come up with? What was their major? And then there's some advice on, if you want to do this, if this sounds interesting to you, then here's some things that I think you need to think about, again, for that particular
and this
major.
is great, particularly for our population, because in hometown America, college kids come home regularly. They're home at the breaks, they're home in the summer, and they get to interact with a lot of people in the community. But in the case of our students who are in 12 different countries all over the world, they don't often get, and the tours of duty that our families have are usually for 3 years long, so we have a lot of transition. So they don't get to usually see a student, perhaps a friend, who goes through 4 years of college and then gets employed and then is able to come back and share those experiences with others. So having the ability to go and hear the stories of other students, I think, is a real plus for our kids.
We've been amazingly surprised at the genuineness and the realness and the honesty and the assistance that people were able to lend in order to be kind of a role model or
and
a
I
support
think that's
for
what
other
makes it
students.
attractive to young people as well, for sure.
Yeah, they came up with a really good idea. Okay, for the what to do section, that actually has different components for find schools, take the tests, apply for admission, start preparing now, your college roadmap, and then do you need more help? I would like to show you your college roadmap. And basically, again, this is an interactive tool. Students can either prepare an 8.5 by 11 roadmap, or it can actually print out so that you can have this huge wall poster that you can tape together and put on your wall. But say, for example, I'm a freshman. I'm just going to go through here and do this really quick until I get to this section. And on here, a student would put his or her name and then their dream school, and then their I'm going motivational statement, and then what they believe, just a belief statement that would, again, motivate them. And it's divided by freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. And what we have done is actually kind of put together a plan and a discovery map, and then tactical things that you need to do in order to prepare. So, for example, if I'm a freshman, I want to find a school counselor, talk with my parents, use a student planner, visit Collegegov, estimate how much financial aid I might be eligible for on the FAFSA forecaster, and then create a folder to collect all of my report cards, awards, honors. Again, so that by my senior year, all of this information is collected so that when I'm wanting to apply for colleges, they have thought about those things all the way through. So the freshman roadmap is different than the sophomore roadmap, is different than the junior roadmap, and for each year, what you should be doing. We wanted to give some real concrete tactical information. Here's how you should prepare. Again, at a high level, not at a detailed level.
Right.
Just give basic information.
Well,
for that.
it complements very nicely what we do. We have a 4 or a 6 year plan in some cases if you're in a 7-12 school with us, where students meet with their parents and the counselor and actually map out the progression of courses that they're going to take, the kinds of extracurriculars they should be involved in. And so this complements it very well by giving some prompts for students to think when they're building that plan at school.
Great. So when you review this, if you find that you have some things that we don't have,
we'll be happy to share. Absolutely.
It with me. Yeah,
absolutely.
That'd be great. Okay, and then of course everybody cares about how to pay. And so this has get the basics about financial aid and financial management, and learn what's available, be money smart, and apply for federal student aid. And again, I want to emphasize that this is at a very basic level. So we're not going to talk to you about supplemental educational opportunity grants. We're going to talk to you about grants so that students have a chance to get those concepts down so that they understand I can get grants, I can get loans, I can get work study in order to help me go to school. Get that basic information first and then move forward.
And that's critical, I think, because it's a very confusing process for students and their parents as well. So that's super. Great.
Yeah. Also, the part I want to show you here is the I'm Going guides. And we basically have 9 students where they're just, again, students that are in college, and it's just information about where they're going to school, what their majors are, what they hope to accomplish, advice that they have for students who might have similar traits that they have. A lot of really good information there. We try and change our I'm Going guides frequently so that we keep things fresh. And then we have college question and answers. And again, as we were touring across the country, we collected questions from students. What do you need to know? What information are you not getting? What are you interested in? So that we could then put that into a question of the week.
And that's I think it's a great feature. And it would be, I think, an important feature for our counselors to be aware of, because it's something they could bring attention to, our students' attention to each week to help them with this process. Great.
Speaking of counselors, we also have a section for parents and families. I want to show you that next. And For the parent section, we actually are able to list all the content in Spanish. Funding was an issue to improve the site. We're constantly improving the site, but we felt that it was really important to have Spanish available under the parent content. We find that most of our students are bilingual, but the parents are not. So we have the Spanish portion on there now. We expect to actually have the site fully available in Spanish by the end of March.
That's great.
So information for parents, why they should go, what you can do, and how to deal with the cost. I think that originally we kind of assume that students have parents and counselors that are willing to work with them and help them through this process. And what we heard very clearly is there's still a significant amount of the population that do not have counselors and parents that are helping them through this process. And in fact, they need assistance on how to talk to their parents to let them go to college, to make that a goal. And again, it's financial, it could be financial just for the family. So we're giving them some support, some information. Here are the things that you might want to talk about with your family.
And it's great because I think for most families, it's totally overwhelming. And then when parents read in the media or they see on television the costs of college, many of them automatically think, there's no way we can do this. But there are ways around some of these challenges, so this is great.
And I think for students sometimes too, especially in these times, they don't want to burden their family with this expense. And there's just some positive information there about it's worth it. In the long run, it will benefit everybody. It will benefit your family if that's how you choose to help support them. It will benefit you. So we've got some of that information.
Absolutely.
In
and in
here
a future
as well.
show, we're going to bring a guest in to talk about FAFSA, and we'll get into more detail about financial aid.
Very excited about that. Okay, so then there's also a section for teachers and counselors. And again, we just wanted to have a section where we could kind of give them some support, talk to them about here's what you might want to do, here's some things you might want to do in your classroom to go over college.gov, so to provide them some information as well. The last thing I would like to show is that we do, I'm not going to go there, but we do have a link to Facebook, and we have a fan page. We have some of the videos showing on Facebook, so that again, they said very clearly, don't create a new social media, come to us where we are. So we do have a presence on Facebook.
And that's great.
As well.
And even though Facebook, many of the social networking sites are currently blocked on our network, but our students and their families can reach those certainly at home, and that's
Yes.
a valuable tool for them as well. Okay. Well, Holly, this has been great. It's been a wonderful overview, I think, for our families, and a much needed resource, because it's not easy for our families that are so far away to interact with others who are going through the process, except in the school community in which they live. So you guys have done a very valuable service, and I know that our counselors and our families overseas very much appreciate it. So thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
It was our pleasure. Okay. You can find more information about planning for life after high school on our website. I'm Frank O'Gara. Thank you for joining us in this edition of The Chat Room.